birthday, baseball. You're here to stay now. Bad folk love, you're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball, 1791 to this day. The year was 1790. Me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, and it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. That's a 1, 2, 3 section out of the old ball. Play it, gentlemen. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, and it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of the old ball.
Good morning. Are we awake now? Now we'll try it for real.
And how about if you sing along with us? We'll sing "You're a Grand Old Flag" here. Okay.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever your peace may wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, home of the free and the brave. Every heart rings true under red, white, and blue, and there's never a beat or brag. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on that grand old flag. It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, and forever your peace may wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. But should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on that grand old flag. Eye on the grand old flag.
Okay, so that's one more. It's early for singers. It's just... Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Let's try something like this.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real life niece of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. Now I got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, he's my Yankee Doodle boy. Yankee Doodle came to live
Thank you, Vicki True and Andy Kelly and the band. That was great. Good morning, Pittsfield. Good morning, Berkshire County, and good morning, Massachusetts. Good to see you all here. I'm Peter Bergman. I'm the Director of Press for Art of the Game. Art of the Game is proud to be a part of this celebration with First Home Plate and the Boston Red Sox, celebrating the 215th birthday of the bylaw telling people that they can't play baseball right here. It's the earliest mention of baseball in a document in the United States. It's one of the reasons that art has taken over the concept of sports and baseball for a 2-year run. We've had a great first summer. I hope all of you have seen the baseball gloves. I want you to know that a week from this Saturday, and you should see these ads all over the place, we're going to be auctioning off 100 baseball gloves created by talented and artistic kids all over the county. The money raised from that will go back to the schools for the most part to help their school projects with art for the next year. But what we're celebrating today is the birthday of baseball on this spot. I'm going to be able to introduce to you one of the men who's been behind this movement for more than a year, for at least a couple of years now, Phil Masery, and he's going to bring you into the concept of what we're celebrating and what we're looking for in the second year of the Art of the Game project, which is First Home Plate's desire to memorialize right around here somewhere with 3 wonderful figures, the people who played baseball before 1791 in the Housatonic Valley here in Pittsfield and made Pittsfield the center of the baseball world. The shirt that I'm wearing, the hat that I'm wearing, the pin that I'm wearing, if any of you are interested in finding any of these items, they're for sale locally at the Berkshire Visitor Center right here at the Colonial Theater and at Bits of the Berkshires and other places around town. And it is my great pleasure to invite you all to celebrate baseball today with the people who will follow me at this podium and with our baseball birthday cake in the tent when we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure, I introduce to you one of the founders of First Home Plate, Phil Masery.
Well, to say I'm overwhelmed here with the fact that this thing is doing so well and being so well received is an understatement. And I'm just looking out here at all these faces and all these, everybody with anticipation as to what's going to happen here. And I want to tell you that a lot of it has been a seat of the pants. It's been such an exciting thing for us to have. When Brian Johnson and I first started talking about this thing, we said, my God, this is a celebration of the Red Sox themselves. This isn't a celebration of the particular team. This is a celebration of what has helped to define our country. We have been around watching this thing go on. I'm going to just put this into perspective. When this ordinance was passed on this date in this place, George Washington was still president of the country. That's how long this thing has been around. So as the country goes, so goes baseball. And as baseball goes, so goes the country. We're going to talk about this, and Brian's going to elaborate on this a little bit more as we go on. But not only are we on the right date, but we believe, we're not sure that this is the right spot. I don't think we'll ever be able to figure it out. It may have been over by the museum, it may have been back by the courthouse a little bit, but this is the spot, as close as we can figure. Before we get into the actual ceremonies themselves, we want to thank the Legacy Banks Foundation for being our diamond sponsor. The Berkshire Eagle, the Greylock Credit Union, Berkshire Bank, Time Warner Cable, Patrica Construction, General Dynamics, every one of them helped bring this to you. The Art of the Game was actually the prelude to what we're about to be doing here on a permanent site. I want to thank the honorary committee, Ellie Precip is here, Dan Duquette is here, Dan Valenti, Russ Quetty. If I missed anybody, I'm hoping I didn't miss anybody in the honorary committee, but I just wanted to make sure that these people are all mentioned because they have been giving us some great great moral support. Now, before we go any further, I want to bring up Dick Sullivan from the Legacy Banks Foundation, who would like to say a few words to you.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning and welcome. The Legacy Banks Foundation is proud to be a diamond sponsor of the Art of the Game. This is truly a great event for the City of Pittsfield and a tribute to the citizens which have been and continue to be involved as it supports the schools and the youth groups of our community. The Legacy Banks Foundation's mission is to support initiatives that work toward the betterment of our community, and this is certainly one of those projects. We will continue those efforts. Thank you, Pittsfield, and happy 250th birthday to baseball.
Okay, the next person that I want to bring up before we bring in the baseball song and start introducing all the special characters that have been waiting 215 years to meet you people here. I want to bring up Brian Johnson, who's going to just kind of put everything into perspective for us and to talk about a little bit more about what's going on. Oh, look at these beautiful children. Wow. Brian, can you come up, please? Thank you.
I'll tell you, that makes me a little nervous when someone says I'm going to put everything in perspective. It's kind of a tough act to follow, huh? First of all, I'd like to say good morning and welcome to a baseball birthday party. Not only are we celebrating baseball's 215th birthday, but we are honoring the fact that Pittsfield, Massachusetts is baseball's cradle. Baseball is an American icon. Its roots and tradition are truly intertwined in our culture. The game and the country have grown together. The game has brought great joy and happiness to countless generations. It has served as a diversion from catastrophic events and everyday issues. It was never more apparent than in October of 2001. The scene was Yankee Stadium in New York City. It was 6 weeks after we were horrified and in shock that the game went on and President Bush took the mound in front of 56,000 people and millions of viewers. And yet the firefighters and policemen were there, and the victims' families were there, shedding tears, with smoke still smoldering, the smell of the fire still lingering. Yet the game went on, and the flag was from the North Tower was flown over Yankee Stadium, shredded and all, and the nation held together. And that's what baseball can bring to people. It's a diversion from things that can go on in our lives. 1791, the first mention of baseball. It's a distinction that is proudly displayed in baseball's Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. As Phil mentioned, at the time of the document, the President of the United States was our first president, George Washington. So it is true that baseball and the country have grown together. I'm just going to say build and they will come. You need to believe in order to see the characters. This was the theme and the underlining message to a baseball feel-good story, Field of Dreams. When the people did believe, they reached out to belong. They were able to relive their youth and reconnect to younger generations. America has been transformed again and again. It has been rolled over by a steamroller and it has been erased like a blackboard. The country has bent, but it has never broken. our integrity and values have always prevailed. Baseball is a constant of time. It marks a place in our lives and in our hearts. It's a timeless quality. We're here today because I want to discuss and clarify the issues around the statues, the monument, the memorial, and finally, the most importantly, the concept. The statues. If you look to my left right here, 3 characters, bat, ball, and glove. Very simple. There are synonymous terms to baseball. They will be known as characters of the game. The monument. Metaphorically speaking, the characters of bat, ball, and glove will serve as guardians of a first home plate. The monument will be a testament to that Pittsfield is the birth of a dream. Cooperstown is the ultimate fulfillment of that dream, and the journey is timeless. The Hall of Fame is the home to the game's immortals. Pittsfield is its cradle. The Hall of Fame is the Bible of baseball. Pittsfield is its genesis. The memorial. The statues and the monument will be located at a site to be determined, and the site will be known as baseball's Garden of Eden. So we have 3 characters that will be the statues. They will be a monument to the fact that they'll be guardians of a first home plate, and there'll be a memorial in baseball's Garden of Eden. Now I would like to discuss the concept. This is the area that I really would want people to fully understand. We're here celebrating today because, and I will say this, the 1791 findings, they can be predated. People have asked me, what will happen if we're ever predated? And I just say this, that the integrity and the values of the concept can never be predated. Those qualities belong to us. They are timeless qualities. The concept of the statues, this fell here, okay. The concept of the statues, the monument, and the memorial are purity and simplicity, youth and innocence. The characters of the game will become a permanent tribute to the purity and simplicity of the game's historic roots. They will help the modern game reconnect with youth and innocence. The statues will help reconnect and serve as baseball's fountain of youth. They will be ambassadors in CIS baseball and epitomizing family values. Patriotism, as you can see, they're dressed in red, white, and blue, truly representative that baseball is America's game. The characters will serve as the conscience of the game. Like the country that bends but never breaks, their spirits will lead and be an inspiration to the game that will always be able to right its ship. The characters will represent the heart and soul of the game, its values and its integrity. They represent what the game was, is, and always will be. And finally, the evolution of the game. As you can see, they're dressed in 1790s attire, but they support, each one of them, a bat, ball, and glove, support a modern day piece of equipment, symbolic of the game's historic roots, its exciting presence, and promising future. It's the evolutionary process of the game. In a few minutes, you're going to see on the monitor over here a film that was done in July on Red Sox stories. It was a film on Pittsfield, our community, by a prominent Major League Baseball team. It showcases our community and our objective, and I'm quite proud to think that this project has reached a level that the Red Sox film crews here today, that they had filmed us on an earlier version. Well, I'll talk about Fenway Park later tonight. This thing has legs. We're going someplace with this. But you've got to believe, like in the Field of Dreams, they never saw the characters until they believed. It's a feel-good story, and that feel-good story will never, never be predated by any other document. That will be housed here in Pittsfield. So, what I'd like to do right now is introduce our characters. Our characters are Bat, which is David Joseph, Glove, Carrie Soldo, and Ball, Michael Mazuri. And if you would welcome me and having them, and someday at Fenway Park, this will happen, to sing our national anthem. Thank you. You want to go up on the stage? Go up on the stage and get.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, you know, that's pretty tough to follow. It's amazing. But, you know, before I go on and make my next introduction, I'd be remiss. I can't take my eyes off of these young people over here on my right. They just came in, and, you know, I'm listening to Brian earlier, and he's talking about youth and innocence and purity and what the game of baseball represents. Well, we hope that all of us can show these young people over here on my right exactly that, and to set a good example. And hopefully we're doing that today. We are trying to parallel the game of baseball with life, and it's not hard to do. It's pretty simple to do, because it is. It is, and it's something that we can all be proud of. And when baseball is played in its real form, in its purest form as a game, it can never be duplicated. And hopefully these young people are seeing something that they'll take on into their ears today. Anyway, and my next introduction, I want to. We have had obviously a lot of pseudo sort of private and public things going on here, but we couldn't have done it without the help of the City of Pittsfield, and specifically without Jim Roberto. So before we go any further, I want to bring up Jim Roberto to address the crowd. Thank you.
Yeah? You know, the mayor loves to work in moonlight, and how about Bozo the Clown, huh? but I'm glad these are red, and I want to thank the Red Sox for coming because you give us an awful lot of credibility, and that's right. Let's cheer for the Red Sox, huh? Yeah! Because everybody in Pittsfield's a Red Sox fan today. I promise you that. You know, and that's the job today that I've been given by Brian and Phil, is to say thank you to a whole bunch of people for really bringing to life, for truly bringing to life the game of baseball from its genesis to today. And I can't start really without thanking the Red Sox. Gosh, you know, I had an uncle. His name was Phil Polano, and my uncle was about the biggest Red Sox fan that ever lived. And he passed away in the early 1980s. And I came from California, where I was living at the time, to see him. And I said to him, Uncle Phil, what do you think? And he said, I think honestly, I can't wait him out any longer. So to my Uncle Phil, who'd be in the first row today, I just want to thank the Red Sox for making baseball such an important part of this community and every community they travel in. And as I move from the Red Sox thanking, I got to thank John Thorne. It always takes an academician to put truth to paper, and it was John Thorne who did the research and found out what few of us in Pittsfield actually knew, that we were and are the Garden of Eden of baseball, and that we did have an ordinance that Brian refers to and Phil. And I want to thank, I got to thank Phil Massery and Brian Johnson. When they came up with this idea, bat, ball, and glove, first home plate, happy birthday baseball, quite frankly, I thought they were nuts. And look it, we finally got Mary Beth back to Pittsfield to photograph us from Channel 6, so we can't be that crazy. And Brian and Phil, thank you so much. And to Mary Rentz and to Peter, where's Peter Bergman, who integrated all of this and who took baseball and tied it to art and culture, and who filled their streets with painted gloves and introduced another dimension of this game to all of the kids in Berkshire County by putting those gloves in schools and youth agencies. I want to say thanks, but most important, to you guys with the YMCA caps on, eating your popcorn. Are you having fun? You are? And who you for now? You all Red Sox fans? Yeah. All right. Because this is what this event is all about. It's all about you enjoying this game and having more fun than you can imagine, playing baseball, going to baseball games with your folks, and allowing the generational love of this game to continue. And so to everybody, I say, voila, let's play ball. Thank you very, very much.
Well, you know, if the mayor thought I was nuts, Brian and I have to go home every night and explain to our wives exactly what we're doing. And if you guys thought we were nuts, you should have heard we were here at home on a regular basis. However, I was remiss in earlier that we do have some birthday cake earlier, and the Big Y is also been very excited about this thing, and they've donated some cake. So before you leave today, before everybody leaves, make sure you grab a piece of birthday cake. And now, before we go any further, Brian wants to come up, and he wants to tell you about a few more things. Remember, we will be at the Fenway Park tonight with these three characters. And so if you are watching Nesson tonight, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. If we're going to get to throw out the first pitch or not, I don't think so, but we'll try. And they keep telling us, come on down. We're going to make a big deal out of baseball's birthday in Pittsfield. So it's kind of a Pittsfield's day down there. So Brian wants to come up with a few more things, and we're going to start to show you a few other things and introduce our song shortly. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. What I'd like to do right now is have you look at the monitor. Again, as I mentioned earlier, back, I believe it was July the 9th, that this program aired all through New England. It was shown in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, all of Massachusetts. I hate to say this, it was Pittsfield, Dalton, and Richmond, the 3 communities in all of New England that this program did not air on Sunday, July 9th, because we did not receive the Massachusetts feed of the UPN station that it was on. Pittsfield Community Television was nice enough, and the Red Sox were nice enough to allow them to air it on PCTV. But we have the film here. We want you to see it. We've abbreviated it in the sense that we took the center portion, which is Pittsfield, which is us. And this is something, as you watch it, you should feel extremely proud. This is our community, and again, a prominent baseball team came here and believing in what we're doing to showcase our community. And I'll let the film speak for itself. So it's about 8 minutes long, and please enjoy it and feel very proud, because I know I do. Thank you.
Welcome back. While other towns claim to be the birthplace of baseball, Pittsfield, Massachusetts has documented evidence that some form of the game existed there in 1791.
And that could make it baseball's Garden of Eden. So Pittsfield is throwing a celebration.
Well, there's a long history of baseball here.
There was this tremendous discovery about the city of Pittsfield being the oldest documented location for baseball.
In North America, that is. That document was discovered thanks to baseball historian and author John Thorne.
The public now knows what only a handful of scholars had suspected, that baseball was played in America long before 1839. Thanks to the astonishingly preserved minutes of a town meeting here in 1791, we know that a game called baseball, if played too close to a newly built meeting house, was banned.
This document clearly notes that
for the preservation of the windows in the new meeting house, no person or inhabitant of said town shall be permitted to play at any game called wicket, cricket, baseball, football, cat, fives, or any other game or games with balls within the distance of 80 yards from said meeting house.
the bylaw is dated 1791, much earlier than the 2 other claims to baseball's beginnings. That's 48 years before Abner Doubleday's game was played in Cooperstown, and 54 years before the first organized baseball team, the Knickerbocker Club of New York City, played games at Elysian Field in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Still a puzzle, however, is what the Pittsfield game of that now celebrated season looked like, what its rules may have been. No 18th century box score survives or is likely to have existed. This region might rightly be termed baseball's Garden of Eden, but we can only suppose that if baseball was banned in Pittsfield in 1791, it was not a nuisance newly devised in that year, that it had been played for some time before, and not only here. The better reason for neither Cooperstown nor Pittsfield to celebrate the spontaneous birth of baseball in its backyard is because such an event never took place anywhere.
According to Thorne, the present game of baseball is an evolution of its cousins, wicket, round ball, fives, and other similar games.
Pittsfield is an especially fine place to honor the spirit of baseball, the one that infuses children with a desire to play the game, and grown-ups to watch it and recall their youth.
Pittsfield is holding a 2-year public art and baseball project honoring baseball. It's called the Art of the Game, and it combines 2 of the town's strengths, athletics and the arts. So baseball is bringing people together in this city.
The athletic and the baseball community is strong, the arts community is strong. Never before have they worked together. Today they are, and it's working beautifully.
There are painted baseball mitts and gloves on North Street and around the city that school children have painted, along with a special exhibition here at the Berkshire Museum.
Pittsfield is just 10 miles east of the New York border.
This is a great location to celebrate baseball because of this cusp of the Yankees and the Red Sox here in western Massachusetts.
And that is the highlight of the Berkshire Museum exhibit, the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry.
We played out the rivalry by painting the Red Sox gallery red, and the Yankee gallery is their away colors, it's a blue gallery.
Stephen Wong, a collector of baseball rarities and historically significant artifacts, is the major contributor to the exhibit.
One of the beauties and the inspirations, I think, of collecting is the notion of sharing. That's what baseball is all about. It's really sharing, it's family, it's tradition, it's hanging on to your childhood, it's a lot of memories going on from many generations, all the way back in before 1791.
It's, you know, Ted Williams' game jersey signed. The Yankees World Series team signed baseball, signed by the entire team.
There's a great Joe DiMaggio bat from the 1947 All-Star Game. There's a ball signed by both Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. There's a baseball hat was worn by Lou Gehrig. We've got great original artifacts here in the exhibition that will not be on view in the United States for a long time to come.
It's the only sport that really defines the country because it embodies so many characteristics that represent this country. The notion of greatness as well as failure. All these things about sharing, about community, about the notion of hanging on to your childhood. These are all things that are embodied in baseball, and I think that's why many people tend to gravitate towards the history of baseball.
Welcome back. So Pittsfield, Massachusetts may or may not be the birthplace of baseball, but there's no question the game lives as strong as ever there.
Historic Wacona Park and the Pittsfield Dukes are evidence of the town's enduring love of the game.
Wacona Park has quite the history to it. Quite a few big names who have played here. Ted Williams.
Lou Gehrig hitting a home run into the lake in 1924. I wish I could find that ball in the lake.
Don Orsillo got a start up in the press box with the Pittsfield Mets.
Wacona Park was built in 1892 and is recognized by the National Register of Historic Places. Like Fenway, it has distinctive character.
It just has a very rustic feel. You know, it kind of brings everything back to how baseball should be, about the game.
A certain time during the game, we start our games at 7 o'clock. Say around 7:30, the sun starts coming down, so when you're hitting, it's right in your eyes. So occasionally they have to have a sun delay, and you have to stop the game for 20 minutes sometimes.
The Pittsfield Dukes are Wacona Park's current tenants.
We're part of the NECBL, which is the New England Collegiate Baseball League.
College Wood Bat League, and players come from all over the country.
You know, it's just kids out here, you know, that love the game. I mean, probably some of these kids will move on to the major leagues, and we hope they do. But at this level, you know, they're still trying to improve themselves and trying to take it to the next step. So, I mean, right now it's still about love of the game and, you know, just going out there playing baseball and having fun.
But this is where it all starts. This is where they are recognized. I think they represent a ray of hope to the youth, for the people that are younger than them, that they can aspire to play. They're just a continuation of the heritage of baseball in Pittsfield.
Pittsfield has been playing baseball for years, and, you know, we want to keep that tradition alive.
And while the game of the art of the game is on display at Wacona Park, the art is celebrated throughout Pittsfield's downtown. The goal of the two-year project is to raise enough money to establish a monument dedicated to baseball's heritage and evolution.
You really don't know what a first home plate was. I mean, again, the first mention of baseball, 1791. What did they use for a home plate, or did they have a home plate? We don't know. We look at it as the first home plate. Again, it's a metaphor. And in doing that, we wanted to have these characters who are like the spirit of baseball, who are characters of the game, and let them be the guardians and protectors of the sacred home plate. We set out with making something simple. And in its simplistic state, we said, let's name them bat, ball, and glove, and names that are synonymous with baseball. And we named them characters of the game. We want them to be in 1791 attire or 1790s attire, but carrying modern day equipment. So that's the evolution of the game, showing that, yeah, it's symbolic of the game's evolution. So it's, you know, its glorious past to its present and its, I like to say, very bright future.
The proposed location of Pittsfield's memorial is the city's center, where the former Bullfinch Meeting House once stood. That's the meeting house mentioned in the bylaw from 1791.
Does not only give the recognition to its Garden of Eden here in Pittsfield, but we're also trying to connect to the youth all over, outside of Pittsfield, all over, looking at what baseball is and still is and always will be.
The timeline of baseball in Pittsfield is continuous. It runs from the documented mention of baseball in 1791 to the first intercollegiate baseball game in 1859 between Williams and Amherst, to Pittsfield native Frank Grant, who was inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame in 2006. According to the Hall, Grant is regarded as the greatest African-American player of the 19th century.
The history is great here for baseball, and there's a lot of roots here for baseball.
But I think the beauty of why people indulge in the history of baseball is because it reminds them of the nation that we once were.
The true meaning of the 1791 find, that for old America, which is New England, and its grand old game, baseball, one that grew up alongside the nation, the future might lie in the past.
So where did baseball begin? We may never know, but since 1791, Pittsfield, Massachusetts has acknowledged, then celebrated its existence. So for now, this is baseball's Garden of Eden. To find out more about Pittsfield's cultural baseball character, visit artgamepittsfield.org.
I would just like to thank Pittsfield Community Television, who helped us put this together here today. They did a lot of work in this, and thank you. Well, as you can see, we're continuing along, and tonight is Fenway Park event for Pittsfield. The characters of the game, bat, ball, and glove, are going to Fenway Park this evening. They will, yeah, let's hear it for them. They will be involved in the pregame ceremony. Characters of the game, bat, ball, and glove, will be introduced prior to the game. They will walk over behind home plate to a microphone and yell out, "Play ball." The video board will showcase part of what you just saw here, as well as showcase a song, Happy Birthday Baseball, which you're going to hear in a few minutes. And it's also going to show the earliest known reference on the video board of the 1791 document. All this is very exciting, but as I go back to, you have to believe it's a step. From there, we hope to continue and get more involved, with the Red Sox and whatever we can do. We want to bring home the statues to Pittsfield. Again, as they said here, we may be baseball's Garden of Eden. No one's ever going to predate the concept. It's the concept that we're celebrating the 215th birthday on. There could possibly be interviews with the characters during the game from Nesson. So, during the game this evening, if there's a possibility, if Nesson is able to, they will actually interview the characters, and the characters are going to speak in character, asking them to be built here in Pittsfield. There's also a possibility that Phil Madry and myself could meet with some of the press in the Boston area, making our pitch to deliver the statues and the monuments back here in Pittsfield. All this is exciting, and I'm just thrilled and honored to be part of it. I mean, as Mayor Roberto said, he thought we were crazy. Well, you know what? I thought I was crazy at one point too. But we've come this far, and we're not turning back. What we're going to do now is we have a birthday cake with 215 candles lit on it with sparklers. I'm going to ask the people under the tent to light the candle, to light the sparklers, and then I'm going to introduce over here my good friend Andy Kelly and his band. Together, Andy and I, he even thought I was nuts. Maybe he still does. But together we sat down and said, hey, what can we do? Not just sing happy birthday, but what can we do for September 5th? And believe it or not, part of his song will be at Fenway Park tonight. But what can we do to do our own birthday song? And you're going to hear it. So let's join in with Happy Birthday with Andy Kelly and his band and have some cake. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. And we would like to ask everyone to sing along in this special happy birthday song to baseball here in Pittsfield. And I'll just say to you, there are words that did get passed around. If you get a chance, you can look on with someone near you. But the words in the chorus are very simple. Happy birthday, baseball. You've come a long, long way. Happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay. Bat, ball, and glove. You're never going to leave us. Happy birthday, baseball, 1791 to this day. So each time that comes around, my good friend Vicki True will be singing it, and please join with her. And then in the verses in between, she'll tell the story of baseball right from its humble beginnings, right here in 1791 in Pittsfield up to today. So here we give you Happy Birthday, Baseball. birthday baseball, 1791 to this day. The year was 1791. The game of baseball had just begun. Pittsfield, Massachusetts was the birth of it all. A slugger cracked a ball near the meeting house wall. The town fathers did what they do to this day. They outlawed their game, they outlawed it right away. No baseball could be played near the old town hall. But the game lived on in spite of it all. Happy birthday, baseball. You've come a long, long way.
Are you gonna help me? Happy birthday! Happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay. You're here to stay. Bat, ball, glove. You're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day. Now you know the 1920s were a great time for ball. Radio brought baseball home to us all. 27 Yankees, murderers row. Dick and Ruth really put on a show. Now the Beam started out to play in Boston town, watching the Red Sox bases go round. He loved that team and he wanted to stay, but they traded him. Oops, they've regretted it till this day. Happy birthday, baseball. You've come a long, long way. Oh, happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay now. Bat, ball, glove, you're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day. Sing it up, gentlemen. Jackie Robinson came in the major league. We smiled when he played the game with grace and ease. Brooklyn Dodgers in the Flatbush gang made us cheer and the church bells rang. Now you know that during wartime when the men were away, the ladies picked up the ball and then they started to play. The Subway Series baseball moved west. San Fran, LA, the commissioner knew best. Happy birthday, baseball. You've come a long, long way. Happy birthday, baseball. Happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay. To stay now. Bat, ball, glove, you're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day. The rivalry got hot between the Yanks and the Sox. DiMaggio and Ted Williams ruled the box. Through the years, we watched our heroes play. Koufax, Roger Maris, Danny McClain. That little league America has kept the game strong. So to modern day baseball, we sing this song. We played ball right through the disco beat. Pete Rose and Reg knew how to handle the heat. A happy birthday, baseball. You come a long, long way. I said, happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay now. Bat, ball, glove, you're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day. Our national pastime has survived the strike. Home run derby gave us the spike. The Clarence Sosa, woo, what a blast! Watch out for Poppy, cause he's going right past. Now finally the Red Sox have broken Babe's curse, while every team had to open their purse. A-Rod, Pedro, Manny, and Barry, keeping us excited, breaking records daily. Happy birthday, baseball. You've come a long, long way. Yes, you have. Happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay. Bat, ball, glove, a national tradition. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day.
This is the Sister City Jazz Band, Pittsfield Sister City Jazz Band playing for you today. Vicky True on vocals. Let's hear it for them.
That's the whole thing right there. It's did a great job. I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate the work that you guys have done. We're gonna close now. It's ran a little bit long, but we had such a great time doing this that it was pretty easy to go over our allotted time. But I just want to comment real quick before we go. I think at this point the rest of New England realizes that Berkshire County and Pittsfield specifically are here, and we're here to stay along with baseball. And I can't tell you how excited I am to give that message to them and to the world. If anybody has any questions, like to take some pictures or something, or whatever you'd like to do, we'll be here for a while after the program is over. Brian, anything? Okay. Just enjoy the cake. Stop by, get yourself a piece of cake before you go out, and thanks for coming, everyone. Thank you.
Happy birthday, baseball. You're here to stay now. That folk love, you're never gonna leave us. Happy birthday, baseball. 1791 to this day. The year was 1791. The game of baseball had just begun. Pittsfield, Massachusetts was the birth of it all. A slugger cracked a ball near the meeting house wall.